觉得证照反而是这里面当中最不会被要求的。
哦，真的吗？
我反而这样觉得啦。相对于你到底多会教，你讲起来英文是怎么样，跟你的外形，我觉得这些东西确实是有胜过证照这件事情。
但整体来说，你觉得英语教育的环境或者产业，你觉得健康吗？
有变得比以前健康了，我必须坦诚，因为我觉得以前真的蛮严重的是说，基本上你不是外师，你不是这个脸的样子，你就是基本上你不用考虑很多的工作。
你根本没有机会，
对你根本没有机会，或者是你就是只能当他的助理
啊，这么惨？
对啊，就是基本上你只能拿他当他的助理，但是大
现在有
家都知道
变好了，
现在真的有变好。
Hi, my name is Veronique. I'm from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is located in the Caribbean. We're one of the under 15 countries that recognize Taiwan. I'm not sure what the correct number is right now.
Yeah, like a true friend.
True friend. I think we have had diplomatic relations with Taiwan for maybe, I want to say over 40 years.
Over 40 years, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
I feel like I need to Google this right now.
No, it's all right.
I've lived in Taiwan for over 10 years.
Wow, so you are very senior here. I mean, 10 years.
Currently, my job is in a cram school, and I do teach elementary school kids, and they are the most adorable children ever, honestly. The reason I like teaching kids is because I feel like they have a lot more energy, and they're a lot more enthusiastic in class. And so for me, if they give me that energy, I can give it back to them. So it's a very, very good interaction. Usually, if you're working as a teacher, it'll be based on the progress of the students you're teaching, not necessarily your own personal progress. And the bottom line for the companies comes down to how well can the children improve in the time period that you've given them, which is based on your skills, your repetition, or constantly drilling the work and stuff like that. Well, I like working in the cram school because my schedule can be flexible. Like say if I want to go on vacation, or I start later in the day versus 8 o'clock in the morning. For Taiwan, I believe you need to have a bachelor's degree and also a teaching English as a second language certification or a teacher's license. So depending on which ones you have, it would open up different job doors for you. So if you want to work at an international school, you must of course have your teacher's license. Whereas some schools may not require a teacher's license, but they would prefer to have experience on the job in addition to good recommendations. So it's up to the school, up to your boss, up to the requirements that they have. I think it can be easy depending on what skill sets you have.
Maybe we can talk about a bit salary.
Salary? Okay.
Not about your salary, just because
I have no money. Everyone give me money.
Yeah. Because I got some comment from the audience because some Taiwanese, they would think of foreigner, they come to Taiwan to teach English, it's easy money.
Easy money?
I want to cover this topic, so what do you think about it?
Well, also when you first arrive in Taiwan, you get taxed at 20%.
Because you are foreigner?
Yes. It depends on the length of time you've arrived in Taiwan and the job that you have.
Yeah.
So if you have to be in Taiwan for more than 6 months to be able to claim that taxes back after. Okay. But the first 6 months, you're taxed at a higher rate, basically, no matter which job it is you're in. And also, I mentioned that Taiwan's government does want to have younger Taiwanese generation speaking English. So, of course, they're going to make the job seem,
more appealing
to the people they're trying to hire. So if you are trying to hire someone to fly from a different country and to come here and be paid minimum wage, no one's going to take that job. So it has to look like it's worth taking to leave your entire life and fly here.
I also made a video talk about black people living in Taiwan, and one of my interviewees, she told me some of their friends have faced a bit struggle to find an English teacher job just because they're black. Or maybe people who has a darker skin. So have you heard that before, or do you think this is true?
I think it's true because I've definitely heard a lot of people talk about it. I personally haven't being told that, but that is because I am slightly on the lighter side.
Yeah.
So I know my friends who are darker than me have said this. They've been the teachers, they have applied to jobs and the bosses would be the parents don't feel comfortable, or they think the children will be scared. That's the excuse I've heard.
Really?
Yes, doesn't really make any sense to me personally, because I feel if you're good at your job, then you're good at your job. That's it. This is pure speculation because obviously I don't know the manager, I don't know the boss of the school. It could just be the image they would like to have of their staff, and whatever that image is, It
is what it is.
I'm not responsible for that. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
If I ran a school, I wouldn't hire based on that.
Yeah.
This wouldn't be like one of my requirements. But different people are different.
你一开始怎么学中文的？
因为我本来要念1年是要学中文，我是在师范大学国语中心。
NTNU, yeah.
对，我跟你说，中文真的很难。
真的吗？
真的。
可是你来10年嘞。
对，我来10年，但是不是
那你应该每天都在 listening 啊。
对啊，然后呢，就是有很多人会就是说，我要跟你认识，我想练习我的英文。我说也想跟我认识，不是因为你觉得我是一个好朋友吗？
我觉得应该有很高的几率他们想练英文呀。
如果我有很坏的话，
你说你不会说英文。
Je parle le français.
Non, 我不会法文。
Désolé.
My name's Norel. I'm an English teacher in Taiwan. I've been teaching for 13 years, and mostly I teach one-on-one session, and sometimes I do some cram schools as well, but mostly just one-on-one. If you want to be a language teacher, you have to be really observant, in my opinion, because you need to observe like why the student keeps making this mistake, or he or she has this problem, etc. So the very original passion lies in language learning.
You never study abroad before?
I never study abroad. I just travel frequently abroad, but I've never stayed in the country for more than 3 months.
Yeah.
So mostly in Taiwan.
What is like teaching English
In Taiwan.
in Taiwan as a Taiwanese?
As a Taiwanese, basically you have to compete with still a lot of native speakers, foreigners, American Taiwanese, yes, like any foreign Taiwanese, etc. So it's really competitive, I would say, the market. But at the same time, you have to find your own value. Like, both languages. So this is my advantage. I can explain 2 languages very well, very clearly, but most foreigners, they cannot. So
yes,
maybe they will be stuck.
They can only speak their mother tongue, right?
Exactly. So they cannot put themselves in their students' shoes. They would never understand why they cannot achieve certain sounds, what the problem really is.
I think for some Taiwanese, they are confused about accent and the pronunciation.
Yes.
So for you, do you think the accent is very important? Because now you're a teacher right now,
Yes.
right?
If your accent is just the same as theirs, they wouldn't appreciate your teaching that much. I would say that because, even you have really good approaches.
Like even though you're qualified for everything.
For everything.
Yeah.
But it's just like everybody's, this is really cruel, but it's just like your appearance. When
Your accent is your appearance.
Exactly, I always
Wow.
say that. And this is the harsh reality. I
Yeah.
mean, for a lot of people, maybe they will feel offended or things like that, but this is the reality here. I mean, when people say that, we don't really care as long as we can communicate. Yeah, for general everyday life, of course. Yeah, but for a job or for something more serious, or even for an interview, you maybe want something a little bit more advanced or a little bit more decent. Yeah.
Also, I got some comments from my audience. They think even though you work 7 hours, something like that, but the pay is different.
It's never a lie. It's just reality. Of course, now I'm very experienced. I can ask for so-called reasonable pay that I want.
Yeah.
But since I have some foreign friends and also they are foreign teachers, foreign English teachers as well, I definitely know some of their pay, and for some of them they are less experienced. But since they are native speaker, they always, starting from the very beginning, they ask for higher pay. Yeah. But since their pay is really high, so most parents would only want to pay for 1 hour. So that's the tricky part here. So at the end of the day, it really depends on your kids, like how well they learn, how well they get along with the teacher, all these other factors to add up to their eventual result.
就你的经验或就你的观察，真的一般的学校或是补习班，他们真的会比较严格要求他是不是有证照符合的啊？
我觉得证照反而是这里面当中最不会被要求的。
哦，真的吗？
我反而这样觉得啦。相对于你到底多会教，你讲起来英文是怎么样，跟你的外形，我觉得这些东西确实是有胜过证照这件事情。
但整体来说，你觉得英语教育的环境或者产业，你觉得健康吗？
有变得比以前健康了，我必须坦诚，因为我觉得以前真的蛮严重的是说，基本上你不是外师，你不是这个脸的样子，你就是基本上你不用考虑很多的工作。
你根本没有机会，
对你根本没有机会，或者是你就是只能当他的助理
啊，这么惨。
对啊，就是基本上你只能拿它当它注意，但是大
但是
家都知道，
现在有变好了。
现在真的有变好，因为我觉得一来，其实某一程度上是大家的那个 awareness 有比较好，然后再来一个是我觉得经济条件也是有差，因为毕竟聘这些人很贵嘛。你换另一个角度去想，你单纯的你一个人，你要从你，比如说从我9岁的时候开始好了，我开始学英文，到我真的觉得我是所谓的 bilingual person。我要花多少时间？我最少要10到15年的时间，我才会觉得说，就是我很舒适的觉得，我是一个双语的人，我有这2个双语的资源。
我们光母语我们也学了这么长的时间了。
对啊，然后很多人中文也是很奇怪啊，对啊，
这可以这么说。
So I'm from New Zealand.
Yeah.
I've been in Taiwan for about 4 years.
Yeah.
And teaching for about 10, 15 years,
Yeah.
roughly, in Korea, Southwest China, Yunnan,
Yeah.
and of course Taiwan. I mean, my reason for coming to Taiwan was not to teach.
Yeah, because of visa. You mentioned that before.
Well, yeah, originally it was just for a short
Yeah.
term. Of course, I have been teaching, so I was happy to teach here as
Yeah.
well. And I really enjoy teaching.
Yeah.
I would say in Taiwan, there's a lot more, at least with the bushibans, like the
Yeah.
cram schools, there's a lot going on. Like you have we write reports every 2 weeks for the students. And it gets to the point where you don't even know what, it's like, nothing's changed since 2 weeks ago, you know. And there's a lot of like extra stuff in the curriculum that they're trying to get them to do, and it creates quite a busy environment. So I've found in Taiwan teaching, once you clock in,
Yeah.
till you clock out, you're not having a rest. It's just go, go, go. You go to class, or you prepare for your class, you go to class, you teach for however long the class is. At break time, you are grading something.
Yeah.
And minding the kids. Whereas in Yunnan, it was a lot more slow paced. And another comparison was the students would only come twice a week in Yunnan.
Yeah.
And then here, they're coming every day. So they were getting some, and of course they were learning, and you'd see their progress over the years, but not as fast-paced learning as Taiwan. I'd say easier to teach in Yunnan. And Korea was kind of somewhere in the middle, I'd say, where it wasn't quite as laid back as it was in China. Now, I was working in Kunming, so I can't say how it is in other cities in China.
Yeah. As a teacher, do you think the salary is fair or is equal to your working hours?
I mean, compared to the average Taiwanese salary, obviously foreigners teaching English in Taiwan is quite good.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the salaries haven't really gone up much for like 10 years or more in Taiwan for English teachers. So especially this year, inflation's gone up a lot, but the cost of living goes up every year.
Yeah.
But the salaries stay the same. So let's say like 10, 15 years ago, Taiwan would have been a fantastic place to come and teach and save money.
But now inflation is real, so you think it's less attractive to foreigners?
For sure. If your goal is to teach and save money, then it's less attractive. Taiwan's a great place to live. So I think most foreigners come to Taiwan to teach English because they want to live in Taiwan, not because the jobs are particularly attractive. Now, it's not terrible. Like obviously, you can save money quite well. I'm not 100% sure if this is why, but I have been told by people that in order to get the APRC, now it's changed recently, I think, but initially it was you needed to be earning double the average wage. So the schools would just pay people double the average Taiwanese salary so that you could come in, you could teach for a few years, and then get your APRC. And I'd say there've been like some local people who are not happy that foreigners come in with little or no qualifications, teach English, make twice as much as the average person, and just party and live large and then leave.
I think it's kind of like a few people, they build a bad reputation.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
For all of the foreigners.
I can see how someone in Taiwan who's worked really hard for their degree sees someone coming in, mucking around, would be frustrated. But it's not everybody. And I feel like most of the teachers I've met in Taiwan are passionate teachers. From memory, at that time, I think they were asking for a teaching certificate or at least 2 or 3 years experience. You couldn't just come out of university with you have to have a degree. You couldn't just come out of university and then jump straight into a teaching position very easily.
Because you mentioned about Taiwanese teacher, so actually I interviewed a Taiwanese teacher. She also told me she think it's a very competitive, and also she think your appearance, your accent, your certification. It's about everything. What do you think about this?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's been everywhere I've worked in Asia. I'd say particularly South Korea was the appearance was the
Very
most
important.
China to some extent as well. I feel like Taiwan, your physical appearance is not such a big issue. Like when I first started at this school, we had an African American woman that was teaching.
But that's good.
Yeah. So when I started, I was the only Caucasian.
You're the only one. You're the only
white guy.
You're the only white guy.
There was two Asians as full-time teachers. I mean.
Yeah.
Seems like there's not too much discrimination going on.
Yeah.
I think in the past year, like Caucasian appearance was kind of the stereotypical look that a lot of countries in Asia imagined as native speakers. I feel like just across all of these countries, that's changed quite a bit over the years, where people have realized that, well, you know, it's more than just a face. Sometimes it's been harder for me in the past to find jobs because I'm from New Zealand. If you just have a pile of resumes in front of you, and all things being equal, then the priority goes to those North American accent, like native speakers. And it doesn't matter, like if you're Asian, black or white, like
accent first.
The accent will, if all other things being equal, the accent will be first. I mean, it's a business. They're trying to sell their classes to students, right?
It's in the market.
It's a market. So at the end of the day, it's what the parents want.